I'm Alex.
I'm Tony.
And it's time for our second part of the 2011 retrospective videos. The first part was about the news, you can click on that. The third part will be our interpretations of what's coming in 2012. And of course we're almost a month into 2012 when we started filming this, but it doesn't matter because I want to do this, it's the thought that counts. Alright,
yes.
So we have a lot of games that came out in 2011. I'm actually surprised because frankly I thought we weren't going to get a lot of games this year. Well, after seeing all the stuff that was coming out the first half of the year, it was very boring, and then the second half came and that just kind of disproved me all the time.
You also purchased a lot of download games, too.
I also purchased a ton of them, and I can have a list of them off to the side here to show you later. But first we're going to talk about the game. I mentioned this does include games that did not come out in 2011. It includes games we purchased that were coming from previous years as well, in case you want to know. First things first.
We have a bunch of PlayStation 2 games that we got on the cheap because, let's face it, PS2 is on the outside.
Yeah, and also GameStops around us stopped selling PS2 games used.
And we do know some trading stores that sell them, but most of the games are like Madden.
Yeah, they're not really interesting, but we've been trying to get ourselves here. First things first.
We got these three. We got all three Midway Arcade Classic treasures, whatever it's called.
Midway Arcade. You can't even read it. It's
yeah,
Midway Arcade treasures. The first one was all arcade games. The second one's mostly fighting games. It's got a few more in there.
The third one's all racers.
Third game is all racers. And actually, the case is the best on the third one. The other two don't feel that good. But anyway,
well, it's because it's probably the newest.
We played all three, and I can tell you right now, the second was I think is the least favorite.
A lot of the games they just threw in there were from like the old days. And
Cyberball 2072. Let's play that game.
Totally.
Primal Rage was pretty interesting. But the thing here is that
it depends on your kind of thing. This is more like arcade.
If you're looking for the old games, if you're looking for the fighters, and then the racers. It was actually interesting. That's why I got all three. I actually got two last, but in the end, it turns out I like the other two better. So anyway, that's that. And Midway.
Now this game I regret ever looking at.
Return to Castle Wolfenstein Operation Resurrection.
I played it. It just was.
Did you play it or?
Yeah, I played it. It was difficult to control. There wasn't anything interesting about it. I died a lot.
We have a thorough gameplay of this, but don't expect it to be here for some time. It does not feel like Wolfenstein. Let's just put it that way. It's clearly just a name.
It has
it cost me $4, and I wished I didn't spend that much money.
And then we got this game. You got this discount.
There was an FYE at our mall. Yeah, things closed now, but back in the day, about like March or so, they were selling new PS2 games at 75% off. This game was about $10. I ended up spending only $3. It was actually cheaper I bought the game than it would have been if I put it on the GameFly. Here it is, Tokobot Plus.
This is pretty much a PSP game that was ported to PS2 because the PSP wasn't doing very well.
There's actually a lot of games back in the day that were doing this. They were essentially making PS2, PSP, and Wii games concurrently. Unfortunately, Capcom didn't catch that message, so we don't get Mega Man Powered Up or Mega Man X Command Mission or stuff like that.
Yeah,
Wait, Command Mission.
That's an RPG.
That's an RPG.
This game looks just like a PSP game.
Yeah,
and it plays okay.
They try to use like this fake anime style. Like it looks like it's anime, but like this is clearly
halfway there.
Yeah. We only played a little bit of this because we were going to save it for an episode. So this is going to take a while before we actually get further into it. I can tell you that it's going to be a pretty basic game.
But basically the big thing about it is the combinations of using the Tokobots.
Yep, it's kind of like Pikmin except without strategy elements.
And that's
our PS2 section.
Games.
So 6 games. Wait, no, 5 games.
We might have to rebuy Shadow of the Colossus
because we can't find it. And frankly, it's a good game.
That's a good game worth spending
in case you're wondering why we don't have any PSP or PS3 games in here.
It's one. Well, I've been meaning to get a PSP. But every time I look at it, I'm like, do I really want to... I don't have a lot of money, so I guess, do I really want to spend $150 for like the 4 games that I really, really want on it?
And to top it off, the PS Vita's coming out in a few months.
Yeah.
And that's not backwards compatible, so I'm kind of confused.
You can buy it on PlayStation Network, though.
If it's there. A lot of Square games aren't included.
And then also the PS3, again, we didn't have the money to run out.
But we'll probably get that in time.
Now, we're going to do the 360 next.
Just going into our consoles. So first things first. By the way, most of the games we didn't get at full price because we ended up buying them either used or through some special discounts.
We usually got a lot of them in special discounts.
Or we got them as gifts.
Yeah. So Portal 2 we actually got on discount.
Thank you, Kmart. For $35 we got our hands on Portal 2.
Brand new, only like a week after it came out, too. So it was actually shocking that we found this. We were like, originally before we were like, well, we like Portal, but do we really want to spend $60 on a sequel to it that we might not get a lot of time into it? And then my brother was looking online and found this deal, and then we just made an effort to run out, and we got it. The game is fun, a little more straightforward than the first one was.
Yeah, the game does have a few puzzles where it's like, what do I do? But after the game starts getting to, like, I'd say the second third of the game is mostly about the experience rather than the
humor in this is far greater than it was in the first one. Yeah. The first one was more basically just hearing
this is more
talking. This one has a lot more characters, so it can add a little more personality to it. There's also the co-op mode, which also offers multiplayer, and the only problem is that because it's just the same areas, you really can't. Yeah. It's not designed for replayability.
And we didn't really play much co-op because.
And I really like the ability to listen to the commentary. That I think is still.
That's something that Valve games do with a T. And if you have any Left 4 Dead games, get those two because they have the exact same thing going for it.
The next two games we got. These two games we got.
We got a third game on the Wii, which we'll get to later.
We got at Toys R Us on a massive discount when they were just trying to get rid of as many big bundles as possible. I still can't believe that my brother purchased this one, Tony Hawk Ride.
Yeah! Now, Tony Hawk Ride was $10, and frankly, I had to try out this piece of technology. We almost did before we were at college, but it didn't work out because they just kept on putting it away. It's got sensors everywhere. It can sense motion. It's very basic. In fact, the back of the game case literally doesn't show anything other than this is the controller. This game, I didn't play Shred, which is the sequel to this, but I can tell you that this game is literally just an extended tutorial of the board.
Yes, the board itself is designed to be a new form of technology, and you can definitely feel that it's not cheap. This is something they really wanted to put together, and they really wanted to expand the Tony Hawk series with it. The problem is that there's so many inconsistencies with it. Like people who don't have any skill, like me.
You cannot turn yourself into
Tony Hawk,
a pro skateboarder. And the other game is it was for $30. It was the Beatles Rock Band. It was a limited edition that included a guitar, a microphone, and drums.
And it was like we were shocked that we could get the special edition full bundle pack for just like
$30.
$30. It was like crazy.
Now we've played about 4 or 5 sets in the game. We are not done yet with it, but it's a very fun game. If you like the Beatles, that's what you want. Personally,
I think that out of all the Rock Band games, this one had the most character.
Yeah,
because it actually followed the history of the Beatles, and you actually saw the Beatles in different settings and and also there was all that extra content that you could unlock, which would give you like more history behind the Beatles and memorabilia. So this was actually a very well. It's a
very good love letter to the Beatles name. The issue is that after this, they go to the Beatles. Green
Day. It'd be really cool.
Not the Beatles Green Day.
If they turn
the Rock Band Green Day.
If they made a game just based on the Beatles, like without
a video game, like a Yellow Submarine video game.
Yes, cry not.
Well, cry not.
Yeah, cry not.
Okay, so this game.
This was Punch Time Explosion XL.
Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion XL. You got to put the plug in there.
This game is basically a fighter, like Super Smash Brothers. So we did a review for it.
Yeah, give it a 3 out of 5 or a 3.5 if you focus more on the multiplayer side.
There was a lot of. It was way better than the 360, 3DS version.
The 360 was better than the 360 version.
Yeah, well, the 3DS version was definitely rushed out the door, finished just to get it out there. This actually looks like they took a lot of time into it.
It just goes to show how much benefit you can get by delaying a game about 5 months.
Yeah, some of my favorite characters aren't in this, which is a disappointment.
I hope to see an adventure time game. I keep on mixing words beforehand. I need to think before I speak. That's usually what happens.
But it's not a bad title. It's fun for rent, play with some friends, especially if you're a Cartoon Network fan.
Yeah, definitely for Cartoon Network fans. Otherwise, you're looking at a Smash Bros. Clone with some inconsistencies.
It's not a bad one either.
It's not bad. It's just not stupendous.
This one is Rayman Origins. We got this for Christmas.
Yes.
I think I got this for you.
And then I got it for you. And then
This game is a side scroller. If you haven't figured that out yet, it's using a special art style program.
UbiArt. It's an art system that allows artists to create characters without having to worry about hitboxes and all the.
And actually, I think the technology is amazing in this, and I really wish they would pursue this engine. Yeah. The problem is the game hasn't been selling very well.
No, it's been selling terribly. In fact, this game also
originally was a download game.
It was going to be an episodic game for Xbox Live Arcade, WiiWare, and PlayStation Network. But I think they actually found it was too hard to do for the WiiWare service. They were going to release a retail Wii game, and then they wanted to release one for the Vita and then for the 3DS. And they're like, well, we can't do that.
Why don't we just
release it as a full retail game and go with that? And if anything. The game has a bit of... so far, we're in the first world still, so we can't really say much about the quality of the games, but I can tell you that it's very complicated sometimes.
It's very crazy. Very animated.
It's animated. It's actually...
and humorous.
Yes.
Definitely.
Those who like Rayman and New Super Mario Bros. Wii will find this game to be
because the 4-player co-op.
Yeah, for that.
And then the next game I really wanted for a long time, Sonic Generations. for the 360.
Yes. What would you compare it to, say, Sonic Colors and Sonic Unleashed, the last two Sonic releases?
Well, to be fair, I like Sonic Unleashed day levels, and the night levels, I like the idea of being slowed down a little bit for platforming elements, but I hated the combat. I just hated it, and there's a lot of glitches in it that ruined it.
From
Colors was good.
Colors was like
his little floaty.
It was floaty, and also it was essentially like a Mario World Sonic game. You know what I mean? Where you had the maps, and you had to go through multiple acts that were good. Some of them great, others and others. But the transformations were great too.
Yeah, they really added to
Sonic Generations reverts back to being like more of a just Sonic areas.
You get new powers that you can equip, so like kind of a la.
You got the challenges rings. And modern. I'll tell you right now is the 3DS version of this game, which we get to later. Classic Sonic plays better than this one.
Now,
he's very slow.
He's slow in this game, and he's a little bit floaty. Like his jump is takes a little bit longer to maneuver with. I thought the Red Rings collection. There's definitely a song for all the people who want.
This is clear. This is those of you who wanted a good Sonic game.
They really put their heart into this.
This one is great for the nostalgia, and if you want to try out the newer style of Sonic Colors is a great start as well. By the way, your game of the year for your 3DS 360 game of the year.
I would give it to Sonic Generations.
You give it to Sonic Generations?
Yes.
Looking at the list here, I would say Portal 2 is pretty damn close.
Portal 2 was very good. I just thought that that it was way too single direction. It didn't require a lot of trial and error. It was really like, there's that one panel there that I gotta hit. Yeah. Rather than a whole ceiling where you had to guess where to go.
Yeah, but in terms of atmosphere, I'd say it's probably the top of the tier.
Yes, definitely has a strong atmosphere.
Before we continue to the next system, I'm going to go right to the downloadable content games that we purchased for this year on the 360. For Xbox Live Video games, I bought Andromium, can't really spell that, Curse of the Crescent Isle, Doc Logic, Growing Pains, LaserCat, and Volchaos. All of them are pretty damn good. I'm not so much a fan. Andromium was a little too short from what I was expecting. Curse the Crescent Isle, I don't like the fact that you use a password system, and I forgot the password, so now I have to go back to a level that I remember. So it's a bit slow, but I like the aesthetic. Doc Logic, great aesthetic. A little difficult because the enemies are kind of the same. Kind of start chasing you, it becomes too difficult. Growing Pains, a little pricey, but great platforming elements there. I like the fractal aspect. LaserCat, great callback to the Commodore 64. Sucks you only have one save slot per console. And Volchaos reminds me of Super Meat Boy, a little too samey in terms of environments. So then we go to the Xbox Live Arcade games.
Yes, now we get away from
the Fancy Pants Adventure.
That was very animated.
That was very animated. Essentially
parkour of the game.
That's what I was going to say. I like the fact that it included the two web games, World 1 and 2, in there, which essentially were web games before they made the full adventure, and how they essentially you can see how from playing level 1 to level 2, you can see how he grew as a game designer, and then you see this full game with a full team behind it. By the way, Over the Top Games, it was also developed of Nick's Quest Kindred Spirits. Good game too. Try it on iPhone or WiiWare or PC. And then we got OutRun Online Arcade, which I got because the game was only $5 and was also going to no longer exist
because Sega was losing their licensing agreement with Ferrari.
So I bought the game because I was afraid, because I like OutRun enough that if I didn't get it now, I was never going to get it later. And lo and behold, it's a fun game. I wish there was it's apparently based on OutRun 2 Coast to Coast for the PS2 and PSP and Xbox, something like that. But this game only has one set of the courses and not the other. But still fun game. And just that, I'm not sure if I can play online with it yet. And stacking, we got from Double Fine. It was the second game we got from Double Fine. We got Costume Quest the first. Costume Quest was last year. And then the year before that.
And then we got Stacking. Stacking, you play as little dolls, Russian dolls.
Mashivska, whatever it's called. Yeah. Don't count me on that. It's
Russian stacking. It's a doll within a doll.
Yeah.
And you play as a small one. And you start stacking to people and getting their abilities. It's a good idea. It's a puzzle solving game. No, not really. It's not
the blur hurt my eyes when we were playing it one time. But I think on the new HD television we have out of camera here. I think that worked.
It's a small TV, but at least it's HD.
Yes.
The thing is about stacking was that it was a bit too. I felt burnt out really quickly on it. I don't know why.
Well, you're about
the lack of voiceover work. I think hurts the game.
You have that game, yeah. You're about 3/4 of the way done with the game. By the way, in Costume Quest, I started playing it again. I got to a bug after they made a fix, and I had to start all over again. And I'm not sure I'm going to do that. It kind of sucks.
Yeah,
just after I was getting back into the groove of things with that game.
And we didn't try Double Fine's other game,
the
Trench.
It's not called Trench anymore. I can't remember its name. I think Iron Brigade, because they had to change the name because of Europe. And that game is tower defense. I'm not a big tower defense guy. And on top of that, they also released a retail game for Kinect that you can't do because we don't have Kinect. Which is why you would expect there to be no Kinect games here. Yeah, and that's it for the Xbox 360. So, fun stuff. And
now we're going to go on to the next
one.
Now, we're going to do Wii first, just to get them out of the way. Lost in Shadow.
Lost in Shadow I actually bought later in the year, but this was it released earlier in 2011.
And you bought it like at $15?
I bought it on $15 on Amazon, and it's the last published game by Hudson before Konami purchased the company wholesale. Now, the worst part about this is that when you play this game, it's done by the team that did Koronpa, which is a Marble Madness type game. The game has a lot of promise behind it. There's a nice art style.
Shadows moving around.
Maybe a little too much blur to make the little bloom to make it look smoother.
Reminds me a little bit of Ico in
a little bit, but it's actually more about, it's a little bit combat in there. I like the puzzles elements. I'm just concerned that I'm about halfway into the game that it's going to make me play through all the levels again. So there's a lot of hints that you're going to be going through it through different puzzles. But then again, we'll get to another later game for the Wii that does similar elements of replaying the same area multiple times. It's fun. It's more depressing that I own this game, considering the fact that they could have been making other games for the 3DS and Wii and other consoles, and now
it's a sad reminder.
It's a reminder of what was essentially the last real Hudson title.
This game here, we played it a lot. We almost completed it. My brother found it for cheap, bought it. I think, and you beat it in 10 minutes later.
Not 10 minutes.
Only 20 minutes later.
Each of the worlds are small.
But Munchables.
The Munchables is perhaps what I'd call one of the most unknown games for the Wii.
There are no
major reviews for this game. None of them. In fact, Giant Bob even had a video of them when they received the game. They received like some ranch dressing and a wrap. Literally, it was a wrap that was telling you to review the game. They didn't review it. And that just told me that, I bet all the press got these games and didn't review this game. You want to know why? Because this came out roughly in the same time as E3 did, 2010, I think. The game plays like Pac-Man / Katamari / crazy platformer. There's another game, actually, that we own for the DS, which we'll get to, which is done by the same development team, Now Productions. It's weird that I know this. Sorry. But the game style is great. It's a bit short.
It's the problem with it. It also has some inconsistency with the presentation. Sometimes it runs at 60 frames per second. Other times animations jump.
Yeah,
it's weird.
But it's not great, but it's a fun game. It reminds, essentially, if you wanted a Wii Katamari
This should have been a WiiWare title. It should have been a download title. You think it could have been a download title?
No, it's too big. There's too many worlds. There's 8 worlds. Have you seen an Xbox arcade game that has 8 worlds, multiple characters to select, and all that stuff? It's
Mega Man 10.
Mega Man 10 is a WiiWare game. It's 2D.
It's also Xbox Live Arcade.
You know what I'm getting at. This game is a lot more difficult to put into a small space. Anyway, Namco Bandai. This game was sold terribly. But
all right, this next game was back to that Toys R Us deal. We got it was DJ Hero 2. It was actually, we got the dual set.
The dual sets, you got 2 of these and a microphone for $10.
Can you believe that?
Now, it's not that I didn't like, no, people gave DJ Hero a bad rap when it first came out, and maybe the original game wasn't that great, but 2 is pretty damn good.
2, they went out and they actually said, well, let's make a lot better mixes, let's make...
more dance, there's more emphasis on dance opposed to the R&B rap. There's still plenty of that, mind you.
Yeah.
But this time it's a lot less than that.
And there's also some special level songs that you can only play in multiplayer.
Challenge modes. You got the challenges against other DJs. Those are difficult, by the way, and you also have downloadable content, which is still existent. So it's not like they just closed the sales for those. There's actually quite a bit of going on here. I just beat the game, got the credits anyways. Fun game. A little strenuous at the end.
And at the beginning, when you start playing, you're like, this game's not going to be that great.
And then, of course,
but once you get the thing in your hand, you start using it, you start getting into
Perhaps the buttons are a little too clicky.
Yeah, there's not enough.
At some points, I got frustrated because my hands would either jam where the buttons would, and it would just not work out right. But fun game. Surprisingly well done. So, actually, didn't DJ Hero 2 or DJ Hero for the Wii get like Game of the Year one time? Didn't they get like a Wii Game of the Year from?
I think you got Music Game of the Year.
It was from GameSpot article.
This next...
We didn't open this package.
I'm disappointed. We played this game before.
We have a thorough gameplay episode of it that I have to work on.
And what happened was we saw it on sale, and we were like, well, we loved the game when we played it. We maybe more than we'd expect we'd love it. So we decided to purchase it. Sin and Punishment Star Successor.
Sin and Punishment Star Successor felt... I liked the original when I got it on the Virtual Console. But then when I saw the price tag, about $50 for this one when it came out, I was saying, well, Tony's getting Metroid Other M in a few months, and we just got Mario Galaxy 2, and so I look here and I go, well, I don't think I can afford. I don't know. There's not a lot to this game, is there? Turns out I was wrong. The game has a lot of content to it. We played about 2 or 3 chapters into it when we originally got it. This is still in the packaging. I got to play it some more this year. Probably break it from my backlog this particular year. But the game is fun, really action-packed, and one of the coolest covers for Nintendo's releases. It's a big shame this game failed because
this game was made specifically because the Americans bought the Virtual Console.
But you know what? It's funny because Treasure is known to be very shoestring budget focused. So the game probably didn't cost that much, even though it's this big.
And also, it's interesting. I've seen it on videos online where the Japanese release, actually, the American release has far better content.
Yeah, they actually improved the graphics, and they actually made this game more awesome when it came to America. And the purpose was, if this game sold, this is also an ultimatum. If this game sold 50,000 copies, not million, 50,000 copies, they would have released another action-based game called Rayman, which was essentially a game made by Sandlot, who did the Earth Defense Force games. This game failed to meet that, so they didn't bring that over to America. It really sucks too, because that game looked good too.
Yeah.
Anyway, buy your games and stop pirating. This game I bought for $5 at the GameStop.
I still don't understand why you bought this.
I bought it simply to torture one of our friends and hopefully have an episode created, Knight's Journey into Dreams.
And now he played the original Knights.
Well, Journey of Dreams. Journey of Dreams. There's too many of Dreams, so it's Knights into Dreams, Knight's Journey of Dreams. Stupid idea for names.
Anyways, we saw the first one, the original, being played on the Saturn. It was a fine game, you know.
But it was definitely too arcade focused nowadays. It's aged. And so this game tried to make it an actual adventure game.
Yeah, but except they also had a lot of mini games, a lot of extra stuff. The voice acting was weird. The quality of the game was kind of shot in some spots. Because this game was originally made for the Xbox 360 PS3.
Yep, and then they made it go to the Wii
without changing
budget or time release. So the game is literally
half a game.
Half a game. Well, not really half a game. Essentially
half a hard.
Personally, I think this game would have been pretty bad regardless because of all the extra content they did. They didn't just put that in because of the Wii. So that's how you go with that. Okay, so Skylanders is our I would call it surprise of the year. This bag right here that Tony bought from the dollar store is what is actually full of what makes this game so unique. This game uses a portal which you put on actual figurines on top of it.
Oh, you put it in the...
Yeah. And figurines that you put it on the portal and they get sucked into the game. So that's the portal. You have it on. There's a wireless attachment in here so I don't lose it. And there's the figurines in there. We have 9 right now. We got a 10th one as of Christmas.
Guild Grunt. I'm going to take all of them out here.
There's Guild Grunt. There's also extra level packs that you have to purchase.
There's a level.
That's actually quite a long level.
This is a cool level.
Yeah. Also, you can use those during actual levels to create spells and whatnot.
Yeah, you
and the point is that this game was being
here's one of the level. Here's one of the spells.
Notice how I noticed how Spyro is not even in the center, and his name is on the actual title. It's kind of sad. They essentially put Spyro in here. Yeah, it's cool. Anyway, stop looking through that thing.
This is the one we use a lot.
Healing item?
Yes. Yeah, I thought when I first heard about it, I thought it was like not be
cash grab. I thought it was literally a really big cash grab, and frankly, it is. But the game itself is fun.
And it is. It's actually really good, and the actual holding of the spells and characters in your hands as you swap them makes it even more involved, and makes it feel like an extension of the game itself. The game, it actually acts like a button almost. Like you can actually swap out. And we showed this game to a lot of people, and nobody hated the game. My sister and
they thought
kids,
it was a maniacal plot. They thought it was evil.
Because the way the game is designed to sell the product to you, even the one characters you don't want. It gets you to want to get them.
We didn't want to get that Stump Smash character, but we needed a life character, and we weren't getting Stealth Elf because you might get the 3DS version. You see what we're getting at.
The only problem I had with Skylanders in general is that the price is too much to pay. If it was a little bit cheaper, it probably would sell even more. But it's selling now.
It's selling a
lot
now.
Go to stores, you can't find them anywhere.
Anyway, I would say expect a sequel for this with at least another character per type to sell more stuff. Probably two. And
because Skylanders it's sold a lot.
It's sold a lot. And
Activision is what Activision likes
so
to do.
If anybody out there is a Gauntlet fan and is crying because they no longer make Gauntlet games like Dark Legacy. This is your Gauntlet game, sir.
It
may be for children,
and each character plays different,
but it plays like a Gauntlet game.
And has a lot of
damn good one, except for the 3DS version, which we don't own. It's more of a platformer. Anyway, next game. Okay, so
it's also only 2-player.
Yes, it's also only 2-player, but only...
Yeah,
okay. So anyway...
This next game...
no, wait, Tony, have you noticed that we actually don't own a single Nintendo game in this?
Well...
other than Sin and Punishment, which came out last year. Well, that's where our next 2 games
these next 2 games are probably the ones everyone's expecting us to get. Kirby's Return to Dreamland. When I heard they were making a Kirby game, I was actually shocked, because...
Kirby's Epic Yarn came out last year.
We had to buy Kirby's Epic Yarn again, because our nephews, pretty much... They love it to death, and we can't say no to those.
Yeah, so we had to take the game from them. Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Cheap, though. We got this. Was a Christmas present for each other. The game lets you play essentially. The focus is on 4-player co-op action. You play as one person plays as Kirby, and the other 3 play as either other Kirbys or as one of the other 3 characters, which would be with a hammer attack.
DD with the
hammer.
Waddle
D with the spear. Are you having trouble remembering these things?
I'm trying to think hard.
And Meta Knight with special sword attacks. Now, the other thing to point out is this game also has a lot of extra content. There's like these warp zones you got to use, and the superpowers that are new to the game.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot, and the abilities you get in this game take a lot from Superstar. I'm trying to think here.
It's too early at 3 p.m. to talk about video games.
Superstar, where they actually have different move combinations, like Needle, for instance. The original Needle was just, you're just a ball of needles.
Yeah, but this one
you actually, if you push it right, you spin and dash forward. You spike upwards. And
there's no wheel in this game.
I know wheelies.
Is there a UFO in this game? I know, we're about 5 worlds into this game, and I'd say it's really fun. I'm not sure if it's better than Epic Yarn. Epic Yarn oozes with stuff.
I think where Epic Yarn did more than this game is sticking really close to the
Kirby 64
style. So there's a grass area, desert, a water, an ice. Whereas Epic Yarn, even if you were in the same area, each area level felt so different from one
So if you played Epic Yarn and you felt that the game was too easy or didn't have the same Kirby feel, this one will do.
This game is pure Kirby, and by the way, the graphics in this game is cute, cuddly, and 60
frames per second. And I definitely say that Nintendo is learning well, because the Wii has the most cooperative platforming games I've ever seen on any console. So
there you go.
Good job. And by the way, Hal, next time, don't take 11 years to make a Kirby game. It's okay if the game isn't 100% great.
There's like 2-3 Kirby games.
They had gone through 3 Kirby games before they came to this one.
So they could have released. They could have released 2 of them.
2 of them looked really good, at least. And one of them was a WiiWare game, for all I care. And then the last one, Tony, you talk about that.
This one is probably the one that everyone's who had a Wii wanted to get. Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword. I didn't get the collector's edition one because I already have Wii Motion Pluses. And we don't need to have another Wii remote lying around. I also didn't have, again, money issues for me. I didn't want to spend $20 on a controller I wasn't going to use. So, but the game itself is amazing. I like the motion control was really well done in this game. The dungeons were nice and interesting. The areas were diverse. The art style is cool and all that. I really wish, however, there was more dungeons. I know.
There's like 5, 6, 7 dungeons in the game.
6. My favorite is. My favorite game, of course, is Majora's Mask. There's only 4 dungeons in that game.
So why are you even talking about the dungeon number?
No, because in this game, you feel like the last dungeon was kind of a throwaway, it felt like. It felt like we're hitting the same ground, same puzzles, same characters again. It's like, why don't we have something brand new, especially since the last 2 dungeons were so unique?
Yeah. One of the things I was disappointed was, some people were disappointed that, Miyamoto had said, we're doing a second quest. Well, and there wasn't a second quest.
It was called
Hero Mode, and it really all does is it make
Which, by the way, I got it.
You can't heal, really, because they don't drop healing items, and enemies do double. You only have 3 hearts the whole time. 6 hearts the whole time. The issue with the saying second quest is people thought that meant that they go to different dungeons and have completely redone. It would be like essentially a master quest. That doesn't happen here. And
some of the music's also orchestrated. Not all of it, though.
Not all of it.
And some of it's really well done. I love the desert. Every time I go in the desert, I just
say that's the area that gets the most praise of all the reviews and impressions I hear. Lanayru Desert is one of the best things.
And I actually like the Silent Realms. It added a little creativity.
You have to go back to the areas 3 times over time. And
though returning to that first dungeon was kind of disappointing.
They really could have added more to it. I mean, they did add more to it.
My favorite dungeon in that game, by the way, is the Ancient Cistern.
The Ancient Cistern, yes.
The music, environment, and the boss.
I think what they could have done is they should not have told everyone everything in the game.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Every part of this game, with the exception of 1 or 2 dungeons, were shown to everybody before the game released. And not only that, but the game also is so singular, so discombobulated in its own right. All the side quests are up in the sky. There's really nothing much in the sky other than those mini games down on the ground. You have to select one of 3 regions, and those regions don't connect at all. It felt like the game was trying to compartmentalize the game itself.
It was either you were doing side quests or you were on an adventure.
Now,
they need to mix that up.
Then again, of course, Four Swords Adventures was completely compartmentalized, and
that
game
was
was awesome.
So, my opinion is they did a good job for it. They shouldn't take 5 years to keep making these things. They
also,
really make it
motion controls.
The motion controls were good. There were a few parts where it became a little frustrating. Besides that, I think it was okay.
Oh, and the music orchestrated soundtrack.
Yeah, I already mentioned that.
Shut up! I didn't hear you.
I need to go that symphony.
Okay, Game of the Year for Wii retail games. Oh, God.
For me,
I'm going to say Skylanders for me.
See, for me, it's a toss-up. I'll have to say the game I spent the most time with, and I wanted to play more, even when I stopped, was Skyward Sword.
Yeah,
I stopped
myself because I was thinking we were going to record it, and then I never went further.
But like Skyward Sword, every time I stopped, I said, "Well, wait, I want to do that next part." And that's one thing that did well with this game is they kept you wanting to go.
And by the way, despite the fact that we got a lot of Wii games there, I would say that the Wii lineup from 2011 was pretty piss poor. There was very few games I wanted to buy, and I just bought those used games mostly.
Yeah.
So anyway, next we're over half hour, so let's keep moving.
Okay.
Next, who's watching this after a half hour? WiiWare. WiiWare games, I actually only bought 3, which is odd, seeing as I usually buy a lot of them. First, Thruspace. Thruspace was when they...
it's kind of like that like hole in the wall where you have to...
Yeah, there's actually a 3DS game coming out for that. I think it's already out in Japan, but it was fun, difficult as hell, but it was very interesting. I think the control system for the Wii remote with the D-pad went out actually really well. BIT.TRIP FLUX ended the BIT.TRIP series, then BIT.TRIP Complete came out later.
I think BIT.TRIP FLUX suffered because the backgrounds were so...
Well, apparently the backgrounds get more intense the better you are.
Which is really bad.
We were bad.
And also because the dots were all the same color.
It was very simple concept. I mean, it didn't seem like... I mean, I understand the methodology behind it. It was very minimalistic. It was meant to be very ethereal. It was actually, in a way, supposed to be like a depressing end.
It was a depressing
end. It was the way it comes in, but it's supposed to be like, it's the end, he has to accept what's way it's going on. It's very,
meta.
Yes, there you go. And
Art of Balance.
Another making Runner too, but Art of Balance... we bought that. I bought that because I was like, oh, you know what? I really like this demo. I've been playing it a couple times. Let's buy it. And I did, and it's fun. It's very good to calm down.
Shannon always knows how to make a game.
They know how to make a game about stacking blocks, fun and very graphically powerful. Because frankly, it looks great.
What else you gotta do with it?
And it has lots of content. So
and a lot of levels. And it is tough.
And yeah, we haven't tried the multiplayer, so we wouldn't know. And we got Super Mario Kart thanks to Club Nintendo. I don't remember the game's controlling that difficult. I mean, it's because I'm trying to do drifting and I don't know how. Alright, let's move on.
Loser.
So I move on to the DS itself.
The DS. This is probably the last year. Well, that one game Nintendo's coming out with.
That's not coming out to America.
No, you bet. But here we go.
We'll go through the DS games quickly.
Monster Tale.
Monster Tale, developed by the guys who did Harry Hatsworth and Harry Hatsworth for EA, created their own team, Dream Rift. This game feels like Castlevania meets Metroid, more Castlevania.
Also, and a character.
Raising the character was a great thing. The problem I had with this game is that sometimes it took a little long to raise your character. Sometimes Chomp is his name, and I think that there's a lot of backtracking that's unnecessary. The biggest issue is that I don't know if Dream Rift exists anymore. Their website hasn't been updated, but I hear interviews they're like, "Oh yeah, we're making a 3DS game," so I suspect something from them in the next year or two, or else
like the characters in the game.
Majesco actually published this game. They publish good games, and this game is called Wireway. We know Wireway is actually developed by NowPro. Remember the guys who did the Munchables? They also made this game. It was bought for $6 on clearance. The game feels like a DSiWare game because that's so simple and premise. Did I say the simple? Simple? Never mind. The concept is simple. All you do is you pull the wires, let the guy go, and hopefully.
It's like I do the Kiwi.
No, you don't draw anything. You actually just use the.
Oh, it's like a tightrope walker.
No, maybe, kind of. It's more like a pachinko type game where you use where you pull back on wires and launch them and hope he actually lands correctly. It's got a decent style, but very cheap. Like I said, $6. This game I got from Club Nintendo. We were running out of time to use coins. We used to buy this, and
because everything else we didn't really need.
Personally, I didn't want the first one. This one had a parachute cross octopus. It was an original game, and I wanted to try it out. And I only played it for like 12 minutes. There you go. This is Kirby Mass Attack. I'd say is probably the best game of the lot here. It feels like it could have been a Pikmin game. It would have still made sense. But at the same time, it's got all the charm of a Kirby game tossed in there. I'm almost done with the game, I think. The game has levels are long as hell, which is weird.
And they're different. Like you first go to a level, like, oh, it's going to be our grass level. But you go to it, and they throw this completely new a gimmick into it. They completely changes your
There's
game
a lot of stuff going on here, and I'm afraid I'm going to be missing some of those coins you have to collect, just makes the game even longer. It's fun.
And there's a lot of unlockables.
Those mini games the mini games are almost worth the price of admission. Do not let this game avoid your.
There's an RPG in it.
Well, and there's sometimes a little hard to control them because you have
a pinball table in there.
There's a pinball game in here. There's a shooter game. There's an RPG. It's all good. It's all Kirby. And this game, Solatorobo, Red the Hunter. Good luck finding this game. It's an Exceed game, and it came with the soundtrack. I can't find that one. I think it's over here somewhere. It came out the same month as Kirby, as well as Star Fox 4-3. We'll get that in a second. And this game is an RPG involving this guy in a mech that picks things up and throws them. Well, it holds your hand a lot. There's one thing that Zelda did that was bad. It was it held hands too long. This game does the same thing. I gotta get back to playing it. I only played for about 2.5, 3 hours. It's got a nice story going on to it. I just haven't really got myself the ability to get into it because I've been playing other games as well. Curse you 3DS.
All right, so
that's game of the year. That's definitely Kirby. Kirby Mass Attack totally got my attention. Monster Tail is pretty close second, but Kirby outdoes it for its innovation. All right, the 3DS. Now we have two 3DSs here. One I purchased,
and one I got for my birthday.
And no, we didn't ask for that. We just got it.
Yeah, it was a really nice gift.
Right, so let's get to the games. Come on. Let's not talk about the 3DS itself. Alright, so first things first, I bought, with my 3DS, Pilotwings Resort. Pilotwings Resort developed by Monster Games who did the Excitebike and Psych and whatnot, and the game is fun. It's very calming. I'm surprised I spent as much time playing this game as I did. Because the game is pretty much just flying around an island. And it's the same island, Woohoo Island, and
everyone's playing that
there's a lot of missions. But then there's the actual part where you actually travel around. You have a time limit to collect as many things as possible. I found that to be the better game, in my opinion, because I didn't have to worry about landing correctly.
That was the biggest problem I had with this game, is that you could do an entire mission perfectly, better than
the game can be beaten in about 3 hours. The mission mode, but then you still have the other stuff. So the game is actually longer than it appears, and frankly, best show of the 3D effect when I first got it. And
compared to the other Nintendo games that were at launch, this game was the best.
This was the best.
That's kind of saying something.
If anything, Monster Games, if you're making a sequel to this for the 3DS or something, or even on the Wii U,
get rid of the landing part.
No, you're gonna have.
I hate the landing part.
Woohoo Island is great and all, Nintendo, but please make more islands. I need to have more than just Woohoo Island because I've only been around it 4 times already. All right, next.
I got this game next. It came out a few months later after E3. Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time 3D.
That's the one that everyone wants.
Now, what was special about this one was that it's basically Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time remade. Now, it's not just like a port with some graphics are really taken up a notch.
A port make. It's essentially a remake, but with ported elements to it.
The game itself plays just like.
In fact, I'd say about 60 to 70% of the game is the same. The rest of it's been remade.
Animations, graphics,
frame rate, music.
No, music and sound remain the same.
They tried to keep it as close while also being new as possible. For example, the game does not use direct MIDI. It uses slightly surround, so it sounds stronger yet still the same. I think the issue that held this game back was that they wanted the game to be nostalgic to the point where it was essentially like the game of old, while not going too far. So it kind of looks like it's archaic, but it's not. It's actually much better.
Yeah, apparently they said they could have made animations even better, but they wanted to make it closer to the original.
And by the way, Master Quest is in this, so watch your ass.
Yeah, Master Quest is hard, and actually mirrors it, which else is pretty good. I thought in general that game was really well done. Shows just how powerful the 3DS is.
And I actually have a few more parts of this episode for 3D gameplay. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
We will finish that.
This came out in September, and
I also got this one. This was Star Fox 4 3D. As you probably guessed already, it's a remake of Star Fox 4. What's special about it, besides being in 3D visually, is that it has better all the graphics up the notch, music up, sound up, everything.
Even if you sorry, keep talking. If you compare it to this one, this game is more port than remake. But at the same time,
well,
it's improved. They're both port makes.
But this one keeps the sound the same.
This keeps the sound.
This game...
No, but also this game improves graphics much greater than this does. This has better models and some better animation. This has remade graphics, remade textures.
Remade effects.
This game is a full remake. with the exception of it actually, essentially everything is the same, gameplay and location-wise, but everything else has changed.
There's a 3DS mode where you can actually use the gyros for it, but it's easy mode. But basically, some levels in this game are just astonishing to look at. Zonas is the water.
The other thing to point out is there is a battle mode game. I played the battle mode. If you have somebody you have multiple friends around you, one partridge multiplayer. The only one partridge. The partridge.
One cart for 4-player multiplayer. The problem is there's no online,
which I think kills the multiplayer element of the game more than it actually helps.
And also, there's a camera system, which I really don't think it's necessary. Where you can actually record your face when you play. Whatever. The big thing is there's also a score mode where you can actually select the level you want to play and just play.
And you can actually stop mid mission in case you have to do something else.
No, not like in the middle of
not in a mission, but I mean like mid
between stages,
mid campaign.
You can stop.
Anyway,
there's a lot of good things about this.
Except it's $40. It's a bit expensive, but then again, for a full
I really hope they make a sequel based on that engine.
So now we're going to the games that came out in the holiday season.
Christmas.
That's not Christmas. It's Nano Assault. Nano Assault, developed once again by Shin, who we talked about earlier with Art of Balance. They produced the shooter. They do the Nano Assault, not Nano Assault. Nano Stray. Nano Assault's the name of this.
It's basically about a virus destroying the world. Yeah. So Nano Assault has you destroying the virus.
We actually haven't played this game long because we've been playing the other games instead.
Yes, this game I did play. It is hard. It's basically more unlike the Nano Stray series, which is linear in design.
Yeah, this is more
like you select a stage and you survive the stage. The thing is that some of these stages are these master stages at the end of each world. Each cluster, as they call it, is long and hard. Like literally, it's like frustrating sometimes. The 3D effects work most of the time, but sometimes I feel like there's like a double vision, maybe just my eyes. But
also, if you're playing, there's a glitch that happened for me when I was playing that maybe had to turn up to delete my save. And that's use the arcade mode and then put my score on the leaderboards. So don't go to leaderboards unless you are certain that it won't crash your game save. Then
it's a really good put together game.
Yep, and then we got Mario Kart 7.
Got this for a birthday also.
Mario Kart 7, awesome. The online element is flawless. No cheaters yet, except the Makawahu. I hate you all. And in this case, I also have community mode, so allow me and some people I know to join one group at uncertain times. Just go at it.
There's a lot of levels in the same. Even the old classic stages, they were modified to take advantage of the new features of the Mario Kart 7, like the hang glider, and the water style elements.
I think they could have done better with. I think they could have had one or two more crazy levels in the multiplayer element, in the older levels. But they did a pretty good job selecting that.
I think the problem I'm having with it is that for some reason, some of the main levels on like having two Woohoo Islands kind of disappoints me.
I mean,
since it's not really supposed to be there. We've seen Woohoo Island already.
I think if they want to start doing that, they need to add another set of two courses of two cups. One for retro, one more for retro, and one more for.
You should do a Rainbow Cup. I mean, there's plenty of Rainbow Roads.
Plenty of Rainbow Road. In fact, this is the first game that has two Rainbow Roads in it. One is the Rainbow Road from the NES, Super NES, and one from that. Fun game. Is it better than DS? I'd say
I have a little question because there's no there's no like mission mode.
There's no mission mode, but the game is quite fun. I'd say this is definitely on the top tier of the games. Better than Wii, probably around equal to DS in terms of quality. Don't play DS now; it's gonna snakers.
This next game I got, we already talked about it on the 360.
Sonic Generations.
I got this. I've wanted this for a long time. I've been questioning about it. People argued, "Oh, classic Sonic gets a homing attack partway through the game." To be fair, he doesn't ruin the game for me. Actually, I think in general he controls better than he does in the 360.
Which makes me more happy to know that Dimps is probably going to use that style versus the one on Sonic 4.
Now, of course, people would say, well, why don't they use the Sonic CD engine stuff? Well, that's their decisions, not ours to make. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, if they use the physics, this one is pretty good physics. There's also a missions mode in this game, which is nice too.
But you
have to use play coins to get it, and 5 play coins per one mission.
Get on the treadmill, Tony. Lose some weight.
But also, there's only 7 worlds in this game as opposed to 9, and it actually feels like there's a lot less.
What's worse is that the levels here, these are the secondary levels. Essentially, all the levels that everyone said was their second best. These are the levels they chose. People were hoping this was going to include all of the games from the handheld series.
Yes, like the Game Boy Advance
Instead,
games.
All we got in terms of the handheld games was Sonic Rush and Sonic Colors, which might as well have been Sonic Colors for the Wii as well. So this game was kind of sad. I mean, they include Crisis City, didn't they? No, Crisis City was in that second. So at least they're true to that. But here, people were saying, why are they including the Genesis and the Dreamcast Sonics?
I understand
instead of the Game Boy Advance Sonics.
I understand
those worlds haven't been tapped yet.
I know people really wanted to see the Game Gear games on it, but to be fair, some people didn't get on the Game Gear train.
Yeah, so it's still a great game.
It's fun. Pick up
it definitely feels.
It's a lot harder to get S ranks in this game.
Yes, it feels like they are still working on making modeling above the DS. Sometimes it's a little like,
but it runs
smooth. Don't take it from me.
I'm sorry,
I got to go to the next game.
And the next game is probably the best of the 3DS this year. You think maybe?
We'll get to that in a second.
Super Mario 3D Land. This game is basically Super Mario Galaxy except level based.
Okay.
There's also Street Pass this year, where you Street Pass when you unlock these magic blocks reactivate.
Also,
you get a lot of
stuff. You can choose it when you're in 3D. You can choose to go to pop in or pop out 3D, which is great because my eyes, when it goes too deep, starts to gets wonky. So I always keep it shallower. It looks great either way.
Also, if you're basically, if I discovered from 3D in general is that sometimes if you imagine you're looking through the screen, if you don't focus your eyes beyond the screen, sometimes it feels like it's right there.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all the 3DS retail.
I really hope games do that, by the way, in the future, where they allow you to switch between the two. 3D elements.
By the way, in case you didn't notice, there's icons on the screen on the back like that. Anyway, favorite game for 3DS this year? Yeah, I would say Super Mario 3D Land, no doubt. Mario Kart 7 is probably tied for it as well.
I mean, Sonic Generations I thought was too short, and Nano Assault is it's a fun game.
So, what do you think?
I mean, Super Mario's 3D Land is just there.
So you like Mario? So what do you like more?
I mean, I played Star Fox.
Are you gonna go for Zelda or Star Fox?
That's Star Fox.
Tony's is Star Fox. Mine is Mario Land. How about that?
No, I said that's a second. Mario Land is still my favorite.
Where's my 3DS? That's over here. All right. So the other thing to point out here is I buy a lot of effing games on my 3DS.
Yes, he does.
And I'm gonna go list them now and be very blunt about it. First things first. Let's go to the DSiWare games that I just unloaded. Shantae Risky's Revenge, Art Style Pictobits, Go Series 10-Second Run, Escape, Ura Climber, Castle of Magic, Mighty Flip Champs, Dark Void Zero, Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Anniversary Edition, Spato, Cut the Rope, Air Race Tunnel, and I also recently bought 2 other games, but we won't go about them because those came out. I got those in 2012. Those games are all DSiWare games I got. My favorite, I just beat Shantae. That one's the most DS retail based, but it's at the same time it's not my favorite. I would say my favorite is
Art Style Pictobits is amazing.
Pictobits is probably above the top. Between that and
Go Series 10-Second Run, I thought was kind of
it wasn't. 10-Second Run was too simple and too infuriating. Escape controls blew my head off.
They should really fix that.
Ura Climber, very arcadey. I loved it. It's a short game, but it's awesome enough that you want to keep playing because of all the achievements in it. Castle of Magic, very short. It was a short platform of 3 hours, but there's a lot of variety and a lot going on that, surprisingly, Gameloft did a good job making an original IP instead of ripping another one off. Mighty Flip Champs, I'm getting further in it, but some of the puzzles get absolutely... they blow my head off. I said the last time, but that's the best way to put it. Dark Void Zero, too short. Don't like how you have to save between levels, and it's too difficult for its own right. Legend of Zelda 4 Anniversary Edition. The single player mode did not help the game.
No, single player is kind of boring. So I really been actually saving out this to play for multiplayer.
Spato, very very simplistic, but actually fits the concept of an iPhone type game. Nintendo makes those. What? Actually, Angry Birds. It actually stars an Angry Bird who throws bombs. Cut the Rope. Once again, that's a part of an iPhone game, iOS game.
We reviewed it.
No, we did. Well, I have a review to type up.
Oh,
it's almost done. But it's okay. If you have any other means to play otherwise, I'd probably recommend it there. This game aesthetic is not. It doesn't work well with the DSiWare service. And Air Race Tunnel infuriates me because of how difficult it is. Okay, and then I got the Virtual Console games: Super Mario Land, Donkey Kong, Kirby's Dream Land, Avenging Spirit, Gargoyle's Quest, Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, Balloon Kid, Legends of Zelda Link's Awakening DX, and Blaster Master Enemy Below.
A lot of those games we didn't actually play when we were kids.
No.
We were just into Pokemon.
Really?
Red.
Yeah.
And that was about it. And we didn't actually... I had Zelda. I did play Zelda a little bit.
Yes, and then... So that was...
We had
so I'm not going to talk about those games. I'll tell you right now that my favorite, I think, was Super Mario Land 2. And Gargoyle's Quest was pretty damn good, too. Crap, they're all good. Whatever. Then we got to the actual 3DS download software, which is most important. Swap Note, Nintendo Video. I don't need to talk about those two products. Pokédex 3D
keeps you playing the system.
Keeps you playing. Keeps you after I got all this stuff, though, I didn't look at it yet. Excitebike 3D Classics got it for free.
the idea of the slider actually changing.
It made me a believer in the 3D Classics line, to be honest, because I was afraid that it wasn't really going to do anything.
But the idea that you can actually adjust the slider and actually change how the game visually looks. Not like oh, it's becoming more 3D, but the world actually bends out, so like making 3D models and stuff.
So that and saving your actual tracks was nice. But they should have done Street Pass, damn it! That would have done a lot, or QR code making. It would have done it a lot bigger favors.
Which we'll bring up in a second.
Then Xevious I got from Club Nintendo. I wish I didn't. Frankly, it's too difficult.
But it's got the most 3D.
It's got the strongest 3D in terms of.
It's really like this. This.
I appreciate the effort put in behind it, though. It's definitely put some time behind it. Twinbee I got because I really like the aesthetic behind it. Very unique shooter.
Instead of having the 3 where it's like this is your ship, this is the ground. It actually is kind of on an angle, like you're actually flying over over a hill.
Yeah, and everything pops out. It was a nice little touch. I didn't understand why there was curtains, but whatever. Kirby's Adventure, the best 3D classics of the set because it's a full game that has actual 3D used in it. I was surprised when it was announced.
It wasn't actually. What's strange about it is there's no 3D graphics. Everything is layered. So it's
but everything
isn't. There's no parallax scrolling either. So it's kind of weird.
Well, the other thing to point out is everything is a 3D model. Everything is 3D modeled because that's how it moves so smoothly. Imagine, even if you don't use the 3D effect, imagine playing Kirby's Adventure in the full frame rate without any skipping. That's why it's worth the money. Then we got the actual games. Freaky Forms, Your Creations Alive. Actually one of the most played games on my 3DS because I actually spent so much time creating stuff, you know?
It's like Spore.
Yeah. It was Spore creation, the actual adventure, the actual exploration mode, not very good. It could be done better. It felt like Animal Crossing, but with weird creatures. Pushmo is
best game on the
3DS.
Yeah. Say it's the best.
Not only does it have the cool aesthetic of of moving objects and getting Pushmo.
It's a puzzle game. But the idea is that you can make your own puzzles and use sprites and make your own
and that really works out.
And the QR code system.
QR codes makes this so damn big. Freaky Forms does the same thing, but it doesn't really change the game. It keeps.
But here you can get.
But here it
levels.
actually creates new levels, and that therefore makes the game almost infinite.
I mean, I'm currently been playing this one where someone made all the Rope Masters from Mega Man 2 into levels, and they are hard.
Yeah,
they really push your mind.
The Mighty Switch Force. I was initially not interested in Mighty Switch Force because the game doesn't have a whole lot of length to it. It's only 16 as opposed to the 40 levels of the other games. Once again, it's way forward. But the aesthetic, the graphics, the music, all great. And then when you beat the game, it tells you, oh yeah, you get the superpower attack that actually makes you able to beat the par time. And then when you do that, it makes the game fun again.
Of course, the game is rather short.
So the game is short. It'll take you about an hour and a half to beat the main game. But you'll end up playing through the main game again to get the fastest time. I've done all but the last 2 for time limits, and I probably added like another hour to my time. So it's actually very fun in that sense. And then finally, V from the Calisan Terry. I can't remember his last name.
This game I've played before on the PC. It is very crazy.
Very crazy.
Again, it keeps that very low.
Yeah, this is actually the most expensive game of the 3DS download software games at $8, and people complained that because it was $3 more than the PC version. But you're paying for portability. The game is very good to play in quick bursts. You can even quick save anytime you want. The game not only has the main game, you can track your score, your deaths and whatnot. You also have 18 player levels, which were made using the level editor. They said they're making a level editor if it sells well enough in which they can make updates. They have to make an update anyways because one of the modes doesn't work. But the time attack mode works well. There's a no death mode. You stupid masochists, you. And then we also have the player levels, like I said, each having their own save slot. You can save the game at any time in those as well. All in all, fun game. Keep getting put back to it because the aesthetic and music and everything behind it just keeps making me want to go back and fail again for the next 20 minutes. So in the end, all those games came out for the 3DS last year, and you can tell that I bought them all.
He did.
Yes.
Anyways, that's all.
We're nearing on an hour of talking about these games. Jesus Christ.
That's all the things we got.
Are you still watching this? If you are, type in like monkey in the comments below, and I'll give you a cookie or something.
No, don't listen to him.
But no, this is
he is high on cat.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyways,
those are all the 3DS, all the games. Those are all the games that we purchased in 2011. 2012, we'll talk to you in the next video, and hopefully it won't take longer than 30 minutes. Oh God, we're all gonna die.
Sometime.